Such a tragedy. Police in Pennsylvania say 3 teenage girls made a deadly pact to kill themselves by standing in front of an oncoming train. Now, 2 of them went through with it, but at the last minute, the 3rd girl backed out. She screamed for her friends to get off the tracks. It was all too late, and she was forced to watch as they hugged each other while the high-speed train came at them at speeds of 110 miles per hour. Funeral services are this weekend. Why did this happen? We're taking your calls, 1-877-TEL-HLN. Joining me now, Terry Reel, a family therapist, Phil Herron, editor for the Delaware County Daily Times, and Susan Roeder. Her daughter was a friend of one of the victims. Thank you all for joining us. Let me start with you, Phil, if we can. These were pretty popular girls. Were there any indications that we've heard that these girls were going to kill themselves?
Oh, Vinny, how are you this evening? The overwhelming sense that we've gotten is something that you've already covered, and just how incredibly sad this is. Right from the very first moment when we first got word in the newsroom of this incident, you're always wondering why and what happened in this instance. As we began to look into the story, as the story developed, we found that as big a tragedy as this was here in the Interborough community, it had its roots probably a little bit in something that happened about a month before, and that is that another Interborough student was killed while riding home on his bicycle, and we got indications from the community and from some students that some of the kids were still upset and were having a hard time dealing with that.
This is heavy stuff. You're talking about 3 deaths now of young people, 2 apparently from some suicide. Susan Roeder's with us. You've got a child who is friends with one of these girls. What's going on, and what is the reaction there of parents in that community with your children? 3 of them gone now. Susan, can you hear us?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Susan, what's happening right now in that community with parents? You've lost these 2 beautiful girls, another a child tragically killed riding his bike. What are parents doing now?
I think basically they're just scared to death. They're scared for them to walk out the door. It's, they walk out the door, it's making sure parents with them. They leave in the morning for school. We're afraid until they walk back in the door after school. It's terrible. I'm having her call me as soon as she's out of school, and I'm scared until she gets home, and I think that's the way most of us feel.
Terry Reel's with us. Terry, there is panic in that community. Parents don't want their kids to go out by themselves. What can they do?
Well, they're scared. They're scared, and it's a very, very frightening thing. Kids' suicide is a huge problem. The number 3 killer, number 3 in kids 15 to 22 is suicide. There are often little to no indications. It's very mystifying. It's about as deep a wound as you could imagine, and it's very frightening.
Susan, what have you said to your daughter? I mean, you've obviously probably sat down and talked about all this. What's on her mind? What are her friends saying?
I think they're just still in too much shock. They go from 1 minute being angry to 1 minute being devastated, and they don't know how to feel. They decided not to talk to people about it because, honestly, they're afraid of the media right now, and they're afraid of saying the wrong thing, and they don't want anybody putting their friends, making it seem like their friends did anything wrong, so they're very protective of them.
Yeah. Susan, this is really a difficult situation. We got so much more on this tragic story. Give us a call with your thoughts. It's 1-877-TEL-HLN.
Parents need to monitor Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, text messages, phone calls. They need to do this. They need to dive into their children's lives to see what's going on. Pay attention to attitudes, being alone in their room for long periods of time, change in moods, mood swings, you name it. You gotta be aware. Look at the internet. It's all out there. You just have to do it. I think if I had a teenager in this day and age, with the technology that's out there and with what's going on in the world, which is very clear what's going on in the world, I wouldn't have a computer in my house, nor would they even have a cell phone. I managed to get through life without a cell phone, and I managed to get through life without the internet when I was growing up. That's probably what I would do.